Let's see. Yeah, there are definitely not enough of these. Welcome back, my fellow calendar watchers. New World finally drops in less than 24 hours, and what better way to prepare than by watching the most delayed tips and tricks video of the entire pre-release period. Hopefully you learned something new. If not, go ahead and tell me how useless this video was in the comments. Without further ado, on to the first tip. And of course, we're going to start with role canceling. I'll be honest, I watched a few of these tip videos for myself, and so I could admit the most painfully obvious things other people covered. But I actually saw very few people mention or demonstrate role canceling. I mean, I feel like half my channel is role canceling at this point, but just in case you still don't know what I'm talking about, here's the 10-second tutorial. Put on some light armor and equip a bow. Unlock dodge and weave, and archer speed. Then start running, dodge, and press X twice. Wait to regenerate around 75 stamina, then repeat. And that's it. Congratulations, Lightning McQueen, you're the fastest. Next up, as long as we're beating dead horses, I should go ahead and bring up the Great Cleave again. For anyone unfamiliar, the two outposts in the Great Cleave, Eastburn and Cleave's Point, have tier 3 crafting stations available from the start. Between them, they have everything except stone cutting, which, oddly enough, isn't available in any of the uncontrollable territory. Yeah, I checked, it took forever. Anyways, I have a more complete video that covers actually getting to these outposts as early as day 1, so you can use the stations to craft steel tools or other fancy things that need tier 3. Speaking of traveling to the farthest reaches of the map, let's talk fast traveling. Azoth is the currency to fast travel, and with it you can teleport to any settlement or shrine you've been to before, provided you're currently at a settlement or shrine. The cost to teleport is mainly determined by distance between the 2 points and weight of your character. Other factors, like faction control, can help reduce the Azoth cost, but weight is the biggest one you can control yourself, so make sure you stash any unneeded items before teleporting. Sticking with our travel theme, we have housing. In New World, the main point of a house is to have an extra teleport. You can recall to your house from anywhere on the map as long as the teleport is off cooldown. If it's not, you can spend some Azoth to skip the cooldown, which is usually a cheaper option than fast traveling to the settlement directly. Currently, you can have a total of 3 houses by max level, so keep their placement in mind. Ideally, you probably want to place your houses so you can get anywhere on the map with the least amount of Azoth spent. Personally, I recommend Morningdale, Brightwood, and either Windsward or Cutlass Keys. These houses give a decent coverage of all areas on the map and are probably what I'm going with on launch. Now for the economics of home ownership. The cost for your first house is 50% off, and I've seen a lot of people recommending holding on to that discount to use on the most expensive house to save 10,000 gold. As enticing as that sounds, I have to say I don't think it's worth it. The teleport from your first house can save you hundreds of Azoth or a lot of time running, which translates to a lot of gold. Plus, the taxes from a more expensive house could cause some financial stress early, depending on what kind of rate the controlling faction sets. That being said, late game I do recommend upgrading to the top tier houses, as the cooldown is only 2 hours and you can have more storage chests. Oh, and if you find yourself regretting your mortgage for whatever reason, you can always abandon a house. Do keep in mind, you don't get any money back, and your first time buyer discount doesn't come back either. But hey, sometimes you just need a change of scenery. Speaking of massive commitments, let's talk factions. After you choose one, you can only change factions every 120 days, and even then, you can't swap to the faction with the most territory. Joining a faction gives you access to PvP, the ability to join a company, and faction quests that reward tokens you can spend on faction gear and weapons, among other things. The differences between the factions are mostly superficial: story, lore, motivation, that sort of thing. Gameplay-wise, there are slight differences in the bonuses of faction gear, but honestly, that shouldn't affect your choice very much. Your faction determines what companies you can join and who you fight in PvP, so if you want to play with some friends, join the same faction as them. Oh, and one little tip about faction gear. The faction vendor sells seals that can change the attribute bonuses of faction gear. This is particularly useful if you want to do something like run a hatchet with full light armor, as the faction light armor doesn't boost dexterity naturally. But keep in mind, if it works like in the beta, you can only use a seal on a piece of armor once, and you can't change it back. Oh hey, what a great segue into armor types. New World's approach to armor is a little unique. Rather than being forced to wear a single type of armor, you are instead allowed to pick how you want to outfit yourself based on the bonuses you want. The armor types are light, medium, and heavy, and your character is classified as one of these types based on the total weight of armor you are wearing. Open beta lowered the thresholds, so now wearing less than 13 pounds makes you light, which makes your dodge a fast roll and gives you 20% extra damage and heals. Weighing between 13 and 23 pounds makes you medium, which makes your dodge a quick hop, gives you 10% extra damage and heals, and makes any crowd control debuff you apply last 10% longer. Finally, anything over 23 pounds is heavy, which gives you a slow dodge, increases crowd control debuffs by 20%, and adds 15% more blocking stability, which I'm totally sure does something. Anyways, it's important to note that these thresholds allow a little wiggle room, meaning you can mix and match pieces from different armor types to maintain whatever bonus you want while getting the most armor possible. I ran the numbers using faction armor after the open beta changes, and the best combo I found for light armor was a medium chest and light of every other piece. For medium armor, the best combo is slightly more complex: light legs, a heavy chest and helmet, and medium gloves and boots. I should note, after the open beta changes, gloves, boots, and helmets all weigh the same and give the same armor, so you could swap the heavy helmet in my medium armor example, for gloves or boots, as long as you keep the ratio the same. Do keep in mind, these numbers all assume you're not wearing a shield, as shields contribute to weight even without a sword equipped. Next up, a little note on weapon attribute buffs. Both of your weapons' attribute bonuses are always active, even when they're not equipped. For example, let's say you're a healer who wants to maximize focus for expeditions. You could equip a second weapon that has plus focus, and you would still get that bonus even when you're not using it. Maybe it's a little obvious, but for some reason, the opposite is true for shields. Any bonus a shield gives is only active when you have a sword equipped. If you switch weapons, you lose all stats from the shield. Armor, attribute points, everything. All it does at that point is increase your equipped weight. Let's stick to combat for our next tip, enemy resistances. When you hit an enemy, the color of the number shows how effective your attack style is. Blue means your damage is weak, white is normal, yellow means it's strong, and orange is a critical hit. Note that hits from behind are always crits, so try to do that when you can. I spent a while looking for some kind of chart or something to match up enemy types with their weaknesses, and the best I could do was this one from worldfire.gg. I don't know how accurate it is, but I'll link it down below because it's literally the best reference I could find. And last combat related tip, respecking. Before level 20, you can respec all of your attributes for free anytime you want. Use this time to experiment with different weapons freely. At level 20, the cost is 20 gold and increases by 12 gold every level, capping out at 500 gold at level 60. Likewise, weapon skills are free to respec until weapon level 11, after which the cost is 25 Azoth, rising all the way up to 200 Azoth at weapon level 20. One thing you want to make sure to do while respecking is free is try out all the weapon abilities. Remember, you can mix and match them, you don't have to only stick to one tree. Alright, enough of that boring combat stuff, let's get back to the good stuff. Crafting. Specifically, jewel crafting. I've heard a lot of complaints about how hard jewel crafting is to train, due to the rarity of gems in general. But I don't think people realize you can just salvage whatever jewelry you make, and it'll give you an uncut version of your gem back. I tested this again real quick during open beta, and it was still working, so keep that in mind when it's jewel making time. Next up, we have the Town Project board. This unassuming block of wood is a great way to trade raw materials for experience, as everyone seems to know. But if you don't want experience and instead want bundles of cash, you can also use this little billboard to tell you exactly what you should sell with a heavy markup. I couldn't confirm if everyone gets the same quests from the board, but the principle is the same either way. Note resources required for the board and sell them high. Or, if you want a list of every town board mission and what's required, check the link below for the New World database. Alright, that's all I got. The time has finally come. New World finally drops Tuesday. No more delays, no more waiting, no more scrubbing through hours of recordings for that one 5-second clip. That one's probably just me. And probably no more videos from me, at least for a little bit. So sub and ring the bell if you want to partake in my not-so-glorious return, and I'll see you all eventually. Like, probably in November or something. Whatever.